All right. We are good to go, it looks like. Um, Sometimes it takes Rumble a couple heartbeats. It is running. Yeah, it is running. It's weird this. Wow. Gonna be a full minute delay. Or even more than that. Wow. Can't thought she was being activated. No, they're not activated yet. Want to make sure Rumble is up. Oh my god, it's still not up. There was a check mark for like less latency for the stream, but historically, it's weird. I don't know if they fixed something in the back end, but it used to that there's a check mark like, a stream pass through less latency, but there was another qualifier on there before that said no DVR, right? It's not going to record anything. And so when I created the stream today, that was checked. But that qualifier of no DVR was not on the check thing. Wow, is this going to be? This is over 2 minutes. Over 2 minutes. That's not cool, Rumble. Why for out there? Sucking. I mean, it's still okay. Well, somebody's gonna have to tell me. Somebody's gonna have to tell me when Rumble comes up because. Wow. That is way delayed. I mean, we are 3 minutes into the stream now, and it still has not popped in. Oh, it says start. What? This was running before. I looked right at it. It had start, or it had stop on it. Did it like just fail to start? Usually when I hit my button to start the stream, it starts both. It just starts both, but yeah. Sorry for the delay, everybody, but Rumble is quite temperamental. Still hasn't started yet. Yeah, Rumble, it says start. It's erroring out. It's erroring out. Let me go to modify. It looks like my okay. I'll just have to copy this. Paste here. Copy this. Paste that. Okay. And start. Yeah, because they had a second day in a row that I was called and no work today. Oh. Wait, you were called to go into work, but you didn't actually need to get, like, you didn't need to do anything. I'm afraid to ask what kind of job that is. Okay, I think the rumbles may be working. Unless their service is, like, borked, which is entirely possible. Well, I think it started. It went from one viewer's waiting to one viewer. So there it goes. Went from one viewer's waiting to one viewer. So, okay. I don't need to hear myself or play the stream. I just wanted to verify that it was up. Okay. Thank you, Spy, for coming in and saying hi. I'm always on board for some chatting. Okay. Vintage Engineering, as you know, Wednesdays are my development stream. And here we are. We're only 6 minutes in this time around. That was called and told there was no work. Oh, something broke. Well, I mean, when I was going to school, we'd call those snow days, and it was much welcome. I mean, I know you're not getting paid, but anyway, a little free little vacation. So the fluid tank now is fully operational. To steal a line from Star Wars, it's fully operational. Works with buckets, and works with the bigger stack sizes, right? The capacity of the tank is actually being reflected in how much it holds. Well, yeah, how much it holds. It's just a number. Numbers go burr, but eventually the game is going to start. There it is. Okay, so here's the iron tank, which holds 64,000 liters of water, and we have 63,960 in there. And if I grab 10 from there and I put in there, right, you imagine how long it would take you. And then boom, 64,000, and you can take the water from it, right, and put it back. You know, you can take it from and put it back. But yeah, 64,000 liters is 6.4 million fluid portions, vastly exceeding even the default numbers that the game has, and everything is working. And I can grab some of this, and then you can see that, and then put that there, and boom, it fills it up. So it works with the pipes, no problem. But right now, there's no way to empty this, right? If you wanted to, if you had a bunch of water in there and you're like, damn it, I don't want any water, even when you break it, you get all the splashy effects, but it doesn't actually empty it. It's still in there, right? So I don't know how. We're gonna have to look at maybe how to empty this thing, and maybe to stop those particle effects from showing. And the other thing I thought of trying maybe today would be to render some sort of cube inside, to show that, you know, there was something in there. But you know me, I hate rendering side stuff. Like, I just don't like rendering stuff. I don't know why you can't place this. You have to shift right click. Same with because it's trying to pick up, right? It's trying to pick up stuff. And now I just have 4 tanks for some reason. Well, that's weird. It emptied out. What just happened? What just happened? I'm gonna grab another bucket of that as a backup. We're going to grab this, right? So it says there's 11,000 liters of water in there, which is right. But now, what happens if we... Now it's empty. Nothing appeared in there, of course. So how did... I need some more. I need some more of the waters. So you can see how fast it's filling up. It's doing 50 liters at a time, which is the stack size of the water portion, because I put a steel, it's a max level upgrade in there. So it's doing a full stack at a time. So why, for art thou? There we go. I knew there'd be a crash in here somewhere. How much water is in one water block? A single cubic meter of fluid is 1,000 liters. So that iron tank is capable of holding 64 blocks worth of water. Which I know is an abstraction, but that's kind of what people are used to in Minecraft. So I'm kind of getting... You know, I'm trying to dip my toe into two different worlds when it comes to this mod. You know, things that people might be used to from the other voxel game, and then leading into like the vintage story style and way of doing things. I'm trying to sort of bridge that gap and give people things they're familiar with, but also some new experiences. Contain.inventory. Okay, so get push slot. I don't have a null check on this. Interesting. Yeah, contain was null. So interesting, I have a null check on this one. You can see that here. I have a null check. But I don't have a null check here for some reason. Which means I probably don't have one anywhere along here. So iBlock entity container, which means this... this should have run. Because the get push slot. Okay, well, let's do a sanity check. If contain, no, contain equals null, return, well, we can just do like a continue on here. Or continue just goes to the next item in the loop, right? So continue just is like, check the next thing. If there is no next thing, then it bombs out anyway, so that's fine. But, put that in there. This would be there. This. Let's do does not equal null. No, God. I'm still getting used to this damn keyboard. It's frustrating, but I am getting used to it. The keys are ever so slightly different. They're just enough different that my fingers, my fat fingers are still having problems. And then this one here, I want to. No. Damn it. If contain equals null. I don't need to have it. I don't have a continue on here. Yeah, this one's gonna have to be if contain does not equal null. Do that. Okay. I don't know what fired that. Or why that. How that was null to begin with. Because this is called in my pipes, and how is there a pipe? I don't know. There should not have been a pipe. Or maybe it was the water. I bet you that's what it was, or something like that. When I dumped that water, it saw the water, because I think I placed it next to the fluid pipe, like an idiot. And yeah, it might have seen, because I like placed it right there, so the pipe maybe tried to connect to the water or something. I don't know. Like, I'm at a loss. Okay, so this, and then I went like this. Yeah. It definitely connected. But it shouldn't have. This one did, but I'm going to fill this up with some more water. I don't think this thing creates a source block. No. It definitely doesn't create a source block. So why did this see that? Here's what I want to do. I want to actually grab this. Okay. And then come in here. Back to game. You've got some more fluid. Give me fluid. And then drop it, and then here we go. So what is that block? Contain is null, meaning the block position. I want to know what that block is. So we can do something like world.blockAccessor.getBlock at that position. So this is water still 3. So the source block for water is water still 7. So water still 3 is not a source block. So why is the pipe connecting to it? Let's just F5 out of there. Let it finish. Okay. So we need to investigate this. And look at the fluid block pipe entity, because this has the can connect to. This is the thing that's determining whether or not it can connect to something. And so when there's like a block update, when there's anything like that, it checks, can it connect to it? So in here, I need to do some more shenanigans with this. Okay, so this here, it's going to get interface. This is going to be null, so it's not going to go in there because it's a dummy water block. It has no block entity associated with it. This is also going to be null. And then this is what I have as a temporary thing for debugging, which will be removed eventually when we get pumps. When the pump is done, this is going to be removed. Okay, so that reminds me, I still need a pump model, single block pump model that has a wire connection, you know, one of those little gold wire connections on the side or whatever, wherever, and an obvious pipe connection. Okay, so if block at is not equal null, if block at is liquid, let's do, because I just want to prevent it from connecting to those itty bitty blocks. And let's take a peek at the block liquid, like lava. Oh. Liquid level by type. Liquid level. So you can see the height. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's not 7. It's actually up 1 because 1 is the first level, right? So it's just +1, and then 7 is plus 1, so it's 8. So it's 8 different heights of fluid, but only 7 is the top full block, and I don't know if there is a thing that indicates that. But what I could do is I could just detect the number 7 in there to see if it's a full block. Water is the same. 1 to 7. Liquid level by type. I am curious where this number is. Liquid level. Where does this appear? It is interesting. Liquid level. Value between 0 and 7 for liquids determine the height of the liquid. Okay. Now I need to check real quick where, there it is, oil deposits. Block liquid oil. Did I do that with this? I did. I did indeed. Excellent. I've got, yeah, I think one of the things I'm going to do for vintage is integrate the oil spawning into vintage. So right now, I did this mod ages and ages and ages ago. I mean, the last edited was end of August in 22, so it's almost exactly 2 years that I made this mod, and all it does is create oil in the game. That's all this thing does. Is create this new water block or this new fluid, but doesn't, has no use. Might as well integrate it or in some other way, because or I couldn't, or it would just be like, hey, this would make it easier because I could do some shenanigans with a pump jack, and drilling down to mantle and then just pulling it off of mantle, depending on what like biome you're in or something. You could just do, and that would just be like arbitrary things. I do want to move towards sort of the immersive petroleum aspect, where you have to do like a core drill, and then you get kind of a map of the chunks around you, and you can find deposits of fluid like that, sort of an artificial layer, where you can actually pump stuff out of. That's months of work to do something like that. Just to abstract away like the fact that there's no actual oil in the world. And vintage is more about real world stuff, and so this crude oil mod spawns it in appropriate types of rock, appropriately deep, right? So there's a lot of elements to this that are more realistic than just abstractly like drilling haphazardly. So I much prefer this, but the fact that 7 is there, I could then just detect that 7. So why don't we do if block dot liquid level equals 7, return true. Like that. Right? Because we've already determined it is liquid, and the liquid level is 7. Now, the other thing would be like other fluids. Obviously, like lake ice is not a liquid. It shouldn't be anyway. I don't see, because if you actually look at a liquid, you get liquid code, you get matter state right here, matter state liquid. Even salt water should have matter state liquid, but then snow block doesn't have it because it probably defaults to solid, probably the default value there. So like even boiling water would probably have it. Matter state liquid, yeah. So interesting. Anybody find? I'm assuming boiling water specifically is from like hot springs in the game. That would be my understanding. But even this has 7 in it. So I think that works. So now, at the very least, the pipe should not connect to the tiny little water block that's created. At least one hope. And that would fix at least that temporary problem. Get some fluid in there. Yeah, even at like 50 liters 10 times a second, this thing, remember, holds 64,000 liters. So it takes a while. Okay, so this, yes. That is a way to empty them. At least we have that. Right? That is a way to empty it. We cannot fill it from this, which I'm actually okay with. I'm okay with not having to fill it with a fluid directly. That you have to either place it down or use a bucket on it, right? You're just twink. Now, if you want to fill all 64,000 with a bucket at 10 a shot, right? That's 6,400 cycles, 6,400 times that you have to go back and forth. That would take you a couple days to do that, I think. And probably wear out your poor wrists, because holy Moses, that would be crazy. But I don't know why I got 4... Why did I get 4 fluid tanks back? When I tried to empty this into here. And it drained that out. And that should have actually popped this when this thing drained out and this emptied out. Yeah, there's another bug. This is just a bug fix day. I was gonna possibly work on batteries today. LV batteries, but you can see all the little weird edge case bugs that crop up with these kinds of features. But yeah, when I control right click this into here, like what happens if I grab an empty one? Nothing. Okay. So let me put down a breakpoint. Block fluid tank. On interact. So this has some fluid in it? Yes. So why didn't my breakpoint get hit? Oh, okay. That is a different... There we go. Now, yeah, it just required a block update. Yeah, see that? It didn't see that either. So what's going on here, people? You're not seeing... What? Now you're not seeing that as a block. What? Okay. Can connect to BE fluid pipe. Can connect to. Okay. BEC is going to be null. Oh. BEC there is null. It reaffirmed its connection to the fluid tank. It's the same block space. Liquid is null. Block at. So this. Water still 7. So the liquid level, which is way down in the L's, is 7. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Put that there. Save it. Hot. Hot reload. Hot. It's so hot. And that is return true, and then we can remove that. And that re-engineers that, and then we just sort of, do we want to do a steel? Let's do a steel. Let's put a steel in there. There we go. Yeah, you can right-click the things inside there now. Okay, so remove that. Now, what we're missing, I think. So one of the things I did, and this was a suggestion by somebody. One of the viewers did a pull request, and it wasn't very good, but I did take it to heart what his message was. And so the tank itself derives from block liquid container base. So this basically is like the base class of the bucket, and so it includes a huge amount of code that does a lot of the stuff for me. Right, when you pick up, right, that's why the tank behaves like a bucket, because all of that is in the block. I have some special code in here, mainly on block interact start. I have some special code in here that that has to sort of switcheroo the order of operations. So you can see the try put into, right? So the try put into, that is the base game way of interacting with slots. So it's like I have slot A and I try to put into slot B, right? I'm trying to put it into the sink slot. Well, in order to get the tank to actually hold more than a single stack size of fluid, because remember, the fluid, if we look at, say, water, in here, there will be somewhere. Oh, it's so hard to see because everything is red and squiggly. It's water portion. That's what I'm looking for. Item. Liquid. Excuse me. Right here, max stack size. So 5,000 max stack size at 100 items per liter. That's 50 liters. That's the max stack size. So my tanks were only capable of holding that because the game assumes a slot only can ever hold a single stack of item. You can't ever. It just assumes that it's like, don't ever hold more than a stack. So all of the calculations on whether or not you can push something into a slot are all based on that assumption. If something hits its max stack size, it does not allow you to add more. So what I had to do is I had to roll my own item slot, right? So here, item slot large liquid, I had to roll my own, which is a derivative of item slot liquid only, which was already what I was using. So having this derived from that means this can also be cast as that. So they're kind of one and the same, but the item slot large liquid, this kind of overrides a lot of the base game item slot operations, but it still did not fix the main problem where you have the source slot pushing into the sync slot, and the function that's called is on the source slot, and that's not the one I overrode. I overrode the slot of the tank, which is the sync slot, which these functions are not called on that slot, they're called on the source slot. So I sort of had to flip the script a little bit, which is why I included try take from, right? Rather than try to push into, now I can call try to take from, and that is called on the sync slot, right? It's called on the tank, take from this other slot. It's the same functions. It's the same process, but called on the grabber rather than the pusher. And so I have a lot of my own functions in here. Get remaining slot space, right? Can take from, get mergeable quantity, try to merge the stacks. I override this right here. This is a custom function from the collectible object, not even from the slots. This is a specific collectible object call that I had to rewrite to ensure that it wasn't bumping into the stack size of the item. And so this slot, or this slot object for fluids, and I can do this same process for a item slot as well. It's trivial now that I've got it working. But this thing, now that I can call this, what I do in my fluid transport handler is I basically, when I look at the, where's the code that actually runs it? The tick code. There it is. So I look to see if push is the item slot large wicked. So if the slot we're pushing into is my new custom slot, right? And pull is not. Pull is not. So this prevents it from doing too many of these. But if push is, then we want to take from pull. Otherwise, pull goes into push, right? So it flips. All it does is flip that script. It just flips the, who is calling who, right? It's the same operations, but this ensures that the item slot large liquid is the thing that's it's the thing that's doing it, right? I'm trying to pull into me where I don't care about the max slot stack size. I care about my capacity alone. And that is what this right here is, what enables that. And then the block, right? I still have to override this because of that same reason, right? When I'm interacting with a bucket, say, I have to flip that script again, try to take from the bucket rather than the bucket pushing into me. So that's how I solved that. I did all that code yesterday. Got it working. Yeah, good times had by all. I don't know why this is doing it, but I'm suspecting that there is not block interact start. There is another call. Block. Let's see. Block. Let's look at bucket. If I could spell it right. Right out loud. Bucket. Wait, is that's Dyson sphere? Let's look at this. So the block bucket. This probably from the derived classes at some level. or the base classes. Block, liquid, container, base. This is what my base class is. Look at all these functions. So by using this base class, all of these functions are used for my for my damn tank. So somewhere in here is a call. Probably it is on like held. Yeah, on held interact. So this is the function. This is the function that's doing it. So if block selects an entity null or block entity controls that shift key. So if shift key base, and I think I'm holding control when I do this, not shift. I'm not trying to eat it. Eat it. Allow held liquid transfer. I'm guessing go from block. What's weird is when I emptied it once, I got like 4 tanks back. That's very, very weird. That's a very strange bug to run into. Get nutrition. I'm not worried about nutrition property. Let's look at this. It's most likely this one here, but I'm not seeing any watertight containable props. Get content. Block selection. Let me get one of these full. Well, that works. I wonder. Is that faster? 1, 2, 3. Okay. It feels like it was faster. Maybe. Because remember, having 2 of these connect, it's inserting there and it's inserting there. So that's 2 different inserts, but that might... It's only doing one of those every tick, so I don't think that's faster. Unlike a lot of mods, it's the extraction node is the thing that's managing all of that. And it only does one operation per tick, right? And so once it's done with that operation, it goes on to the next one. It doesn't do all of the insert nodes all at once. So if you want more faster, you need more extraction nodes. You know, you need another water pipe or another water block with another extraction node over top of it, and then boom, you can get that. You can get that humming right along. But oh Jesus. Almost done. Yeah, I really want to, I want to get some sort of volume in here. But I'm going to have to really look at how the base game does that. And I think the best example of what to look at, I think is going to be the base game Forge, because it has the charcoal, right? It has a little charcoal bits, and then as the charcoal burns down, it actually the actual volume, right? The voxel actually starts shrinking as it does. And if you right click, more charcoal, it pops it up. So that dynamically adjustable volume, that right there is what I want to replicate in here. I basically want a volume in there that stretches. It's going to stretch up to show the fill. I just, it's going to have to be like semi-transparent, and that's going to be a royal pain in the ass. I got this working. Remember, the glass is on a different render stage than the frame. So, and then the fluid has got to be like, it's got to be that too, like crazy. Okay, so this didn't do anything. So why was it? That was bothering me. Why was it that when I did it there, I got like all these new tanks? That's really. So let's go here, and we're gonna fill that up. Keep that back up. And I think maybe part of the mod down the road will be to eliminate the ability for the bucket to just flat out create a source block. Because remember, that's 10 liters. That's 1,000 liters, right? So what I could introduce is a special type of bucket, right? A block, basically a bucket that's 1,000 liters that can create a source block when you dump it. It just creates it. Because then it's 1-to-1. Then you're not inventing more fluids. This way, you're taking 10 liters and you're magically creating 1,000 liters, right? Where's the 990 liters coming from? So having tanks that hold tons and tons, you'd be able to venture out, fill up the tank, break it, come back home, and then use that special something, right? Whatever it is to create more fluid. And that way you could do your farm, right? You could just do like your blocks on your farm and stuff. Put this in there. Yeah, there we go. Now you can see it. It's 100 at a time now. So that having two of these, twice as fast. Okay. So this, last time I did it, created a bunch of new ones there. And for some reason, it empties it out, which is weird, right? That's weird. Because if I do that and I fill this up and then I control right click it again, it doesn't empty it out. Which is weird. Yeah, now it's doing 100 liters at a time because this is doing 50 and this is doing 50. I could put water sources on either one of these and they would connect this way, and I could upgrade those and then get 200 liters per second. Or, yeah, this is every 10 times a second. So it's actually 100. Well, it's actually 1,000 a second. This way. So 64 seconds. Pretty consistent to fill this thing up. I wonder. Tin bronze. Give block. Vent engineering. BE fluid tank. Tin bronze 4. How many of the tanks here? 16,000 liters. Okay, so 16. I want to see if this has the same problem. It does. But I think the four tanks was not. It didn't create the 4 tanks. It basically took the ones out of my inventory. Because I think when I gave myself these tanks, I gave myself 4 as well for testing. Zulkin, how are you, sir? And Joe, how's it going? Trying to figure out why this is doing what it's doing. Yeah, it's not grabbing it. Huh. Well, I mean, it might be a mystery for the ages. I would probably have to is that out of power? Is not plugged in? I haven't done anything with power in so long. Well, let's do this. Do. ID 96. Ooh. Well, that's a problem. 97, 97. Oh. Wonder when that got scrambled eggs. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Excellent. Okay. I haven't done anything with power in so long. I've been working on the pipe system, which is fantastic. A couple of weird things here and there, but otherwise, very, very, very happy. Okay, so at this point, I think what we're going to just have to do is just, like, not care. Right? Because, anyway. But Zulkin, even though I rejected the chain or the pull request, I still did the thing, right? I went over it earlier today. So the fluid tank I did derive from the block liquid container, which is why we're dealing with the bug that we're dealing with right now. But yeah, that helped eliminate the specific code that saved and restored the contents of said block. So that's all done for us, but I still have to override on block interact. So there's a bunch of code in here, but otherwise, yeah, I did do that, and everything else is working. So, and then Os is.
I'm here.
There he is.
Just haven't spoke up because you're talking.
Your PRs, your PR. Yeah. I mean, you could instead of doing a PR like that, just message me and say, "Hey, derive it from this class," and you can get rid of your code. You don't have to do a PR to do that. PRs tend to like fix bugs, and add functionality, and you know, if you're just changing the class it's derived from, I kind of do that and poke at it and make sure that it doesn't break anything. But yeah, anyway, what we want to do maybe today is see if we can't at least get going back and harkening back to days gone by. I haven't touched the electric code, the electric network. I haven't touched any of that in like 8 months, since like December of last year, like a long time ago. And what I want to do is see if we can't. Okay, let's close out the transport. That is good to go. And we've got, you know, I mean, the tanks are about 90% there. We have that rendering thing to do. And the forge is like the thing, right? Not the Dyson Sphere Forge, Block Forge. Block Forge would be ignitable. I don't see any coal stack. Why is there a coal stack in here? Oh, coal stack list. Like probably all the valid coal stack things. Ignitables, yeah. So it doesn't hold what's in there, it just holds what's valid to put in there. So many of the world interactions. Oh, I've never touched that system. So if you want, like, if you want a fun to do, it would be trying to get this shape inside of the tank to actually render how much fluid is in there. So I'm guessing the forge. Let's see if we can find the block entity forge. And there's not an on render. It's the forge is the right block, right? Yeah, it's the forge. Render. There it is. Forge contents renderer. Oh, he has to have a custom renderer on there? No. Contents, fuel level. On common tick. So this is what This is what's burning, like burning it down. I'm trying to find, yeah, there it is. Position.y. Ooh. You know what it might be doing? I just realized this. Shoot. It might be just moving that whole block down. I just realized the forge has a lot of empty space under it. Fuel level. Let's set temperature. Let's see. So if we go to, well, it can't, it would be on the client. So the renderer, Forge Contents Renderer, I really don't want to use the renderer, but let's see what this thing actually does. On render frame. So we have the stack, position of the block, the fuel level. Fuel level is greater than 0. So you can see this fuel level in the Y position. This dot fuel level times 0.65. I hate. This is why I hate the rendering stuff, because I can't look at this line and like in my head visualize what all of this shit does. So it's just really hard. But it tells me possibly, yeah, translate. So it is not shrinking. It's not shrinking that voxel, but there is a way to do it instead of translate. And translate is moving something. So there's probably a way instead of translate to do scale, and you could scale the X and the Z by 1. You don't have to scale that, but the Y would have to be scaled by the percent full, right? And then you would just, the thing would just scale up. And the texture would do some weird texture things, but that's, I don't care. I just don't care. The texture is going to look funky on the side for as it's scaling up, but again, I don't care. But I'm going to probably have to create a custom shape that's the inside of that tank. And then use a texture on that shape and then remap that texture with whatever is in the tank, right? Water or lava, whatever. And then remap that texture, and the UVs on the texture would just get reused. So there's a path to do it. I know I can see the path to get there. But all of this shit is just, it's just annoying. And I don't really think we need a custom renderer for it. I really don't. I think you can do it with the tessellator and the shapes alone. Because if you look at like my metal press, block entity, metal press, on tessellation, measure, add mesh data. And we've got helicopters flying around me. Thank you for that. So the mold mesh, right, is getting added to the thing. And yeah, I think that another example, what would be a better example of that? I mean, the pipes obviously have a massive amount of custom mesh information. On tessellation, rebuild shape, right? So rebuild shape. This, again, this is not using a custom renderer. None of my pipes have a custom renderer by very, very direct decision. Does not have a custom renderer. But yeah, this actually rebuilds the shape of the pipe and then like literally like grabs the mesh of the pipe, etc., etc. And then here is the way to do that. Get cache shape, tessellate shape. Mesh rotations. So I'm sure in this, somewhere in this chain, you could scale the mesh, right? You could scale the mesh you get back, which is mesh data, right? Mesh data output. And if we come in here, mesh data, where is the like data dot scale? Yeah. So you could scale the mesh, but the math involved would be, I mean, it's not super hard. You just scale based on the percent of full, and then you have to just make sure everything is set right, which is kind of a trial and error thing, but it is definitely possible to do. I just don't think I can do it on stream because too much of my mind would be focused on that, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else. I wouldn't be able to talk through anything. All right. So, what I want to do is look at getting a battery up and running. See if we can't spit one of those out quick. And I'm pretty sure I have a rudimentary... Oh my god, I have to navigate all the way from there. Jesus. Vintage engineering, mod, assets, vintage, shapes, block, transformer. Well, I have a transformer. I don't have a battery, I don't think. Do I have a battery? I don't think I have a battery. So we whip up a little battery real quick. I keep getting requests for more shape-based stuff. Not that somebody would watch an hour and 14 minutes in to get it, but, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you have to kind of work at life in order to get what you want. So the transformer here, this was, I think, Renegade's early version of the transformer, which actually, to be honest, looks really, really good. Yeah, I think he did a really good job on it. And it has the two connections. I would want there to be some difference between the two. Because you don't know which side is LV, which side is MV, like which side is which. So that would be a problem. But it basically is modeled as from like a capacitor or something. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. But we could probably sort of bastardize this into a LV battery. This is already an LV directory, so battery. And then wire connection 2 we can delete. Okay. And then we want, what else do we want to do? Probably change up the coil frame. Let's hide that together. Yeah, I really like the way this looks. But I wanna ensure I change it enough to so it's distinguishable from the transformer. So just enough. And maybe the base. So the base, let's delete the base. Let's delete let's delete the coil frame. We need to shrink down. We need to push down 2 voxels. 2 voxels. 2 voxels. And 2 voxels. There we go. Now should we put the thing right in the middle? So 7.5 and 7.5. That's smack in the center. And then I kind of want, I don't know whether to mess with the shape. I don't want this. I want this to be able to be placed and look the same no matter how it's placed. So, part of me wants to position, okay, and then cube. So cube this. Cube this. And then this. And then this. And then thickness. Thickness. We're going to pull this back, go thickness. Pull this back and go, oh. There. Right. And we want to do the same up to the top. But we don't need to do that. We can just delete that and then copy it. And then this is going to be top. And then let's just move it up. We don't have to reinvent that wheel. Is it possible to have 2 wire connections on one battery? For batteries, no. Batteries are not going to supply 2 wire connections. The way that the batteries function, if there's an excess of power, it accepts it. If there's a detriment of power, it provides it. Right? It is a storehouse of energy that does not need more than one connection. bridging two networks. That's the transformer. That's going to have two connections. And that is also, that code is also not done yet. Okay, so again, we want this moved back. And we want this one, well, let's start at the bottom here. There. There. And there. And then thickness. And thickness. Coil. I wonder what the texture does when I do that. There we go. Remember, I'm just trying to make it look visually different from what that transformer looks like. I'm not a 3D artist. I'm not a 3D modeler. I'm not a texture artist. Even though I claim to be sometimes when I do thumbnails. But yeah, this, very, very basic. Now, we could really optimize this, right? We could optimize this, this shape by going to the face, right? Now, the south face of this voxel, if we go to the south, we can just hide it because we don't need it. This one, again, south, hide it. And then this one, we need it. This one, the north, hide it. And then this one, the north, hide it. So that gives you a little bit more control. So again, we go to here, south. Can I stretch this up so I can get... First, let's save it for reasons. So south, hide, cube 3, south, hide, 5, north, hide, north, hide. And then look at our coil. South, hide, south, hide. North, 14, hide. Right? And that, I mean, as far as like optimizing models and stuff, that's you're doing pretty good with that. You made your first. Oh, congratulations! Pick bars mod. Pick bars mod. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, encouraging the modding community is something I love. I love to do. So the other thing we can do with like the coils here is the top and the bottom we could also disable. So like the coil here, up, enabled, down, enabled. Up, enabled, down, enabled. Up, enabled, down, enabled. Up, enabled, down. 14, up. And that just it just optimizes just enough, right? It optimizes it just enough to possibly help frame rate. It's better than having a bunch of faces that you can't see being rendered, right? So yeah, that I think that's going to work. And then this little nub up here, does this? Well, yeah, it can improve performance, especially if you have a lot of them, right? The more faces you're not trying to texture and render, the better. So to really optimize something, and this will be especially true when we get to multi-blocks, optimizing your model and all of your textures is going to be vital to that, to ensure that as little as possible is being rendered. So the little nub here is important to know and to note where this nub is. So I need to write down the things and the stuff so we can calculate the thing. Okay, so 7.5, 14, and 7.5. So you can see the origin there is actually I don't know why we can't see it here. Position up. Yeah, you can see where that origin is. That's weird that it's not visible here, but it's visible here. Isn't that weird? So you can see it's the corner here that is actually where that is at. So all of the coordinates are based from this top corner here, from like the northwest corner. So we just have to note that. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Is it the top? Is it that? Why? Is it just too close to the top? No. So why when I select that, is it all quirky and hokey and bad? Weird. I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so go in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab block types. We want to go, what? Oh, that's the oil deposits. I was like, what? Assets, vintage, blocks, LV. Just grab some random thing here. Copy and paste. And we're going to go VE LV battery. Okay, and then edit. Okie dokie. Now, first thing, entity type is going to be storage. And this is going to be VE LV battery. VE BE LV battery. Oh, this is VE BE LV battery. That's some shenanigans right there. So I gotta use the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. I can't think anymore. All right. Now that my eyeballs are no longer swimming, so the battery does not care which orientation that it is actually running in. So we don't need behaviors for this. Nor do we need variant groups. We do need the electric entity behavior. This right here is what actually runs, like what what enables it. Group by, exclude by type, false. There's going to be no crafting animation. That is irrelevant. Shake it more than 3 times. Well, damn. Nobody told me that. Max connections. Okay, so anybody wondering what it takes to actually enable shape base remove this, and then this is going to be, I think, just battery. Yep. Side solid. Side opaque. I don't know. This is like if it blocks light when it's placed. So max stack size, replace whatever. I don't care. We'll worry about the collision, all that kind of stuff later. It's just a full block right now, which is fine. But these values in here, this defines the wire connection, the little box that appears when you're holding wire. When you connect something to the wire network, this is where that little box comes from. This is a vital thing. We don't need to rotate by type, because we're not rotating these, and I hope that doesn't royally foobar everything. We'll see. This is, So I have a little post-it note with those coordinates, 7.5, 14, 7.5. So how do you define the little numbers? Okay. Well, anybody who knows their numbers, I have another little cheat sheet here that has all sorts of decimal points. So the game, everything is based on the number of voxels inside of a block. Like it's not the decimal places are percentage of voxels in. And so there's 16 iterations of voxels, and so the coordinates or the decimals are just every basically every 16th. So 0.0625 is the base number, and you just multiply that. So 0.625, 0.125, 0.1875, 0.25, point blah blah, and I have them written down because it's just so much easier. It's so much easier to do. So that 7.5 that we are offset in, we need to go one square back from that, right? So we're x, z, and then height. Or I guess the better way to do it is x, height, and z. So what we need to do is dial that back 1, but not the height. So 7.5 becomes 6.5, 14, 6.5. And that offsets us up and back 1. Now, to get the other side of the block, or other side of that cube, right? You're defining one corner, and then you're defining another corner. And those corners are like they're opposites of one another, and they define a volume inside. Those two corners define the volume. So it's not just as simple as adding 1 to the block, because remember where that origin point was? That origin point started on the top left corner. So we need to actually extend the square, or extend the cube 2 voxels in the other direction, because we need to, if we just did it 1, if we did 8.5, right, that would extend it to include the voxel, but not beyond it. And we want to draw a nice tiny little box around that little contact point. So we need to go 2 voxels away. So that is 7, 8, 9.5, 9.5. And then the height, again, we want to go 14 is the base, and then 15, and then 16 a height, which is why you need to offset that inside the block a little bit so you can get that box drawn. So this is where my little cheat sheet comes in. However, these are all 625, not 0.6, which sucks. So if we go to like 6.5, 6 is 0.375. But 0.5, if we go 0.0625 divided by 2, that is 0.03125. So it's a bad example because I went half a block in. I know. It's too many numbers. You weren't prepared for that today. So 625 or 6.5 is 0.375 plus 0.03125 is that number. Wow. That's literally the number, 0.40625. Okay, and then y1, y is the height, so that is going to be 14, which is 875. And then z1 is the same as this one, because we are smack in the middle of that square. So we're smack in the middle of it. Okay, and then x2 is 9.5, so that is 0.5625 plus 0.03125. 5937. Wow, I just happened to pick a goddamn thing. Okay, and then y2 is 1 because it's 16. It's right at the very tippity top. It's 16. And then x2 is the same, or z2 is the same, because it's in the very dead center of the block. It's just up at the top. So that's funny that those were. This is literally the numbers that I needed. We're already in there. I just happened to copy the machine that had the exact numbers I needed in there. I didn't even have to calculate them. Well, now I'm sad. Okay. So that should draw our little wire box. That's where those come from. They're only drawn if you're holding wire or the wire cutters. It's the only time those boxes are drawn. This is part of the catenary mod, which is kind of why they're off in their own node, right? This wire nodes, this is the catenary mod that's reading these values and setting this up. And you notice this is an array. These brackets here indicate this is an array. This is just one wire node. And the transformer, when we get to that, we'll have 2 of these, index 0 and index 1, where the power tiers will be different. That's, and it's untested right now. So trust me. And we can set the max connections to 1, which is fine. Only 1 connection to the battery. Only 1 basically wire coming off the thing. So yeah, that Catenary mod is what I spent 8 months working on that mod. Getting that part of the mod, getting that up and running. And it's still unfinished. Okay, so that essentially gives you the battery. Ooh. That would have been bad. So storage, I'm pretty sure if we go to the help mod, make your own machine, this is a write-up that's included with the mod. If you download the mod, this is included in the mod, but it just kind of runs through like what it takes to kind of goes through each major part of this and describes exactly what you need. So here, entity type, which is this producer, right? So it gives you producer, consumer, storage, transformer, toggle, relay, other. So I have an enum that maps those values. So those are the valid values in entity type. Storage is what I'm using here. It's the first time we're trying to do this. And then max power, I rebalanced the last version of the mod that was posted. I'm starting with a different balance of power. So the max power and the power per second are all, instead of being base 2, they're all base 10. Because the blocks, the machines, and the generators, well, the machines all tick 10 times per second. There's no reason to have a base 2 value here. These 2 values are stored behind the scenes. These 2 values, the data type of these, max power and max power per second, those are U-long. Those are unsigned long values, which give you that as the max value. You can't be negative. No negative numbers. But 18 quintillion is the max, essentially the max value. You can't have anything. So I could take that number and I could put it right here, and that's how much power it would store. It would take several human lifetimes to store that much power, several thousand years of power generation to store that much power, but the value is there in case somebody wants to use it. And if you, in any discerning members of the Minecraft community, would notice that value and know that there's probably a mod out there like Draconic Evolution that uses that sort of value, and that I think it was the Draconic like energy orb thing, the max level of that, you would, I think that it was either a U-long or a long, and in a long, you just divide this by 2 basically, and you get like 9 quintillion, which is, you can have negative numbers then, but why would you have negative numbers for your max power? I don't understand. Like, how is that possible? And max power per second is negative? I don't understand. But those 2 values. So how much should the LV battery? Probably like 4,000. I'm just throwing a number out there. Can receive power, can extract power. We're gonna both of those are gonna need to be true. We can receive it and we can extract it. Right? Because it's a battery. So the storage entity type allows a little bit more shenanigans, but basically, yeah. this should be good to go. And then the entity class, the regular class electric block, that's a generic block. Yeah, the VE electric block is the base block type of most of my machines. And it's required for the wiring and some of this logic here. But the block entity, that's where we get more specific. So get out of that, look at block entity. So, do we need electric container BE? This is not really required. Because one of the things is it's not going to be a container, right? Doesn't have an inventory, right? It's not going to have a UI. So electric BE relay, this doesn't have anything in it. This is going to have a bunch of custom code. I don't even know if I need a block entity. I mean, I think I do. I definitely need a block entity, but I might be able to get away with like a generic block entity. Because everything is going to be handled via the behavior now. I discovered why all the VS JSON contain errors. The game implemented JSON 5 extension adds comments with / and remove the need for double quotes. Yeah. The example block that I have, if we look at open file mod example block, this just has like inline like what the JSON looks like, and I have comments, but it really does not like the comments. So it's not meant to like use this exact code. Like you have to remove the comments, but I just wanted like exactly what each of these things does, and why they're important to have. And it just would help. Like imagine the shape by type, like trying to figure out all the rotate yourself. Somebody who has a problem doing that. Like I just include all of that here, and all you need to do is figure that out. And then this bottom one is the catenary. This is all the catenary wires that are built in, right? LV, MV, HV, EV, all signal red, signal green, communicate. Those are all the power or all the wire types that I've basically put in by default. This list can be expanded and edited, and everything is editable with JSON patches and stuff that's in here. So it's not that big of a deal, but I wanted to include that. But yeah, the fact that you can't put comments in JSON really bothers me. I really wish that like this would just assume like, hey, can we please put comments? Because there are many examples of times where I've wanted to put a comment in a JSON, but it's just like, no, you cannot do it. But I do like properly form all my JSON in my mod, so it's none of, because I use VS Code, I don't want all the red squigglies and the errors to show up. So like entity class, do I need like a custom entity Um, I know I need an entity because you have to have one in order to have a entity behavior attached to it, right? But let me quickly look at my electrical network. Oh man, this is code I haven't looked at in so long. Storage transformer, storage nodes. Okay. Theoretically, all this stuff should work. Theoretically, it should work. I've already included the storage process in here. And transformers, right? Transformers are a special type of storage block because it's basically like it's going to have a shared pool of power, right? So the transformer is going to both supply power to the lower or supply power to a network and provide power to a network. It just depends on which side of the network has excessive amounts of power. So if you have a electric network, say, run, and you have a whole bunch of transformers on it, the transformer, if there's a bunch of machines sucking power on one of those transformers, all of the other transformers will help feed that. And so if you're not providing enough power, everybody's power starts going down because there's not enough power in the system. So it quickly would die as far as the amount of power. So the transformer is a special type of battery that allows two different electric networks to talk to one another. And there's going to be special. There's going to have to. I think there's going to have to be some special logic in it. I just think there is. But anyway, remove node, add node. There's the update tick. Okay, so I wrote this is literally like this is where the rubber hits the road in terms of the electric network. This here is what ticks the network. This is what moves the power. And remember, the electric network does not tick 10 times a second. The electric network ticks 4 times a second to save on processor. It doesn't need to tick any faster than that. 4 times a second, even a quarter of a second is imperceptible to a human being. Like, it's so fast. 4 times a second is fast enough for the network. You don't need anything faster than that. The machines themselves tick 10 times a second when they're operation, unless it's sleeping. If it's sleeping, I don't really have network sleeping enabled at all right now. So the network never goes to sleep. That will be probably down the road. There'll be some detection, right? The number of ticks, there'll be some like counter that if an update tick goes through and there's 0 changes, right? There's 0 power distributed through the whole network. If it does that, like, let's say if it's 4 times a second, let's say it does that 12 times. 12 is probably too much. 20. Let's say 20. 5 seconds. If it does 5 seconds where there's 0 power being moved, the network will go to sleep. And then the sleeping network will tick much, much slower, right? Instead of 4 times a second, it will run through its tick like once every 5 seconds, right? And so you'll have a massive delay. Machines will kick back on and drain their power, and then the network will, 5 seconds later, will detect that, and boom, the network will start ticking again, and it'll wake up. That's the plan behind the electric networks going to sleep, is to allow it allows basically bigger factories Where yes, if every aspect of your factory is running and humming along and crafting, yes, the full network load will be run. But if any part of your network or any part of your factory sort of like goes to sleep, all of the machines go to sleep and they tick slower, and then eventually the electric network itself ticks slower. So like the whole thing becomes a little bit more optimized and helps your server performance quite a bit. It has a massive impact on that. And I've coded the whole thing in order to accommodate for that. Okay, so we have storage nodes. This right here is where I want a breakpoint, because I want to ensure that we have some things and stuff in here. So rated power. The thing with storage, though, right? Can extract power. We have rated power. Total in storage, we have the rated power. So it's like we have capacity to store, which means we can receive. Well, we also have the capacity to give, which means we have some stored already. So I need to make sure that the logic between those two is good to go. So yeah, that is a good spot for a breakpoint. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the block entity. We're going to do BELV battery. And this is going to be a derivative of block entity. Come on. Block entity. No, this is not a sub. Not a subclass or not a sub. None of my block entities are in the namespace of block entity. I thought that would be a stupid thing to do. I should actually rename those, but anyway. So BELV battery is a block entity. Now before, because Blue Lightning he refactored the electric network. Instead of using base classes, it uses the behavior, which I wanted to do. Eventually I would have gotten around to doing it because it's a much more elegant solution, but he just hammered that out in like a weekend. It was freaking crazy. But I want to register the block entity API.register block entity class BELV battery type of BELV battery. And yes, it doesn't do anything. Not yet, anyway. But maybe eventually. Okay, let's go back in here. VEBELV battery. So that's the entity class, and then the entity behavior is attached to that. Okay, so that should theoretically be all I need to have the battery work. Okay, well, there's no accounting for taste. Let's get her done. Let's try it out. So much stuff and things around here. Now, where can I go? This is as good a spot as any. H battery. I don't have any of the text in there, but there it is. So give block vintage engineering VELV battery. Give me 2 of those. Why not? Okay, there it is. Now, if we have wire in our hand, we should see that little itty bitty box right there. And that's the little, that's that code. That's that little amount of little things that we did. That's where that comes from. And it only appears if you're holding wire or wire cutters. If you're not, the regular box appears around the whole thing, right? The block. So, what are the odds? Okay, immediately we have storage. That's good. Total in storage is going to be 0 because there's nothing in there. Total storage available is rated by its power per second, which is gated by the delta time, right? So 276, that's the fraction of a second that we're in there, which should be a derivative of that, right? 276 is rounded to 28. And so this goes down and say, okay, total power in gen, which is the generator's total power and storage is 0. So it detected right away that it actually was there. So let's let it run. And there it went. Right? The reason why it filled instantly, I can't snap my fingers. My hands are all sweaty because it's really warm in here. There we go. The reason why it filled instantly was because I was debugging, right? And so enough seconds passed between updates where the next time when I hit F5 after removing that breakpoint, the next tick was like, 12 seconds. And the power per second like ramped up, and so it filled all in one shot. But it should have let's see, that is 4 connections. I can remove the thing, right? So that's 4,000. Now, do I have another machine on me? I do. Let's get a machine that's like easy to hook up. Put that in there. And do I have any LV relays on me? I don't think so. I really need to drop a bunch of shit out of my inventory. At this point, it's a little excessive. Yeah, I don't need the wire. I don't need the clay pots. I mean, there's so much of this stuff that I don't need in my inventory. Oh, I filled the chest up already. Okay. So relay LV give block. It is a block because it says block. Wire relay LV power up. 5. Okay, now if we hook this to there, it gets its own network ID. Then we hook this there. Network flow is flowing. And then this should be draining. Yes! This is beautiful. It's working. So this is going to be 1,000. That's minus 1,000. Look at that. Didn't even have any rounding errors. That's an impressive. That's impressive perfection, if I do say so myself. And then if we say take a log and put in there, as it's crafting, you can see it's pulling power. There we go. And the big test, this could dramatically crash. Oh my god, it's full. It filled it up. Now, why do I get the sense that why do I get the sense that these did not even get tickled? So it's prioritizing the machines. So what I can do, well, I already tested it without it, but if I broke the machines, right? This would now pull the battery's power alone. Yes. And then I might be able to hook just one of these. I want to test the battery to make sure. Let's see what happens. I'm just randomly curious. What happens when we hook another battery up to this if this battery is going to drain into this battery? No. Okay. That's kind of good. Now what happens when we just hook one of these guys up to here? Is this guy was, no, he's not generating it. Oh no, he is. Now he is. So this guy's powering and this guy's powering. Look at that. It's working. This thing is charging up, right? This guy, when we hooked him up, it like dumped its power. It just was like whoosh, and it's either that or he definitely had power. But if we take this away, one of the little things that I did with the LV generator is they will generate power as long as they're over 100 C. So even when it runs out of fuel, right? When it runs out of fuel, oh, this thing fill up? It did. It will, it will generate as long as it's over 100, and then once it's full, it just slowly cools down. But look at that. We now have power buffer. And if we did a priority, I just want to see what happens. Let's save and leave. And then I'm going to set this priority lower. Maybe 3. Normally, this would be a GUI, which is why all of the block entities have to exist, because eventually I want to be able to right-click and have a priority, like some box pop up and include priority. So all the machines, right, all the machines already have a GUI. So the things that don't have GUIs, like the battery, still needs a block entity, so I can pop up a GUI when you right click it. Just to kind of tell you what's done there. So the default priority of the battery, I want to be lower, and that will use that first, right? That will use that first. So let's look at the code really quick to see. No, that doesn't. That won't affect it. Let's see. How do I want to do? Need a short. And hello, sir. RCV. Okay. I think. Yeah. See, it does producer nodes first. Bridge block entity and storage nodes. I would have to recode. I think, part of this to basically include all of the storage nodes in with the producer nodes and then sort by priority. RCV. Okay. Because, yeah, currently it does producer nodes first, right? Extract power. It's extracting the power from producer nodes, and then it's looking at storage nodes, which I think is okay. Because once producer nodes run out, then it's battery backup, right? It's a battery backup system. So I'm fine with that. Let's put this back to 5. But yeah, the battery now works. I think, like, that was extremely painless. Like, very, very, very much painless. Which is impressive. That's an impressive. I can't help but pat myself on the back that actually works, and I didn't even need to like do anything. Like, it just works. That's, I have to say, quite impressive. That I coded this blind. I think it was last October. I streamed the update tick for the electric network. I streamed my creating this function and kind of walking through. If you want to go back to the vintage engineering streams, if you go all the way back, I think it was last October that I wrote that block, and I logically went through all of the steps and all of the things that I needed to walk through that whole thing. But yeah, it actually works. The things and the stuff, they're just fine. Let's connect this up to there. Connect this over to there. Connect this over. Oh, no, that's exceeding. Let's connect this up to there. Remember, these LVs can only handle, what, 5? Yeah, 5 connections. Even though that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Where? Oh, 5 up here. Yeah, it's hard to see, but yeah, there is a wire. There's a wire right there. Anyway. Yeah, if these ever like run out of power, and I could even like, didn't I give myself like more than, how many of those did I give myself? Only 2? And if anybody's wondering about the filter, if anybody has any questions, here's the filter GUI. This little guy, holy Bizalls. This was a lot of work.
this GUI was a crazy amount of work. So I hope you guys are happy with that, because Jesus, that was a lot of work to get that working. Oh yeah, I forgot about the infinite sync and source. We should maybe do that. How much time? We're only 2 hours in. I actually got the battery done in like no time. That was like 20 minutes. 3D model, JSON, and implement in like 20 minutes. That's a record turnaround for a whole new thing. And the information at the top, especially the electric network, that is something that I can hide once the mod kind of goes into a more finished state. But yeah, if you break this, it does not keep the power, obviously. But I just wanted to, for some reason, it just instantly fills. That could be a bug, because I didn't see any of the LV generators let's look at the LV generators. I'm going to remove all of the fuel from these, and then hook this up again. Yeah, okay. So there's definitely a bug. For some reason, it's getting power without using power. But how does the battery attach to the nipple? Well, if you want to attach it to there, I mean, go for it. So what, pray tell? So the logic would be, we have storage nodes.count is greater than 0. Total in storage is greater than 0. Total storage available is greater than 0. Total in storage, total power offered. Consumer nodes that count, it literally doesn't send any power because there's no power needed here. Total power used would be 0. Consumer, producer. This is irrelevant. It's not. Consumer nodes that count equals 0. Producer nodes that count equals 0. That's irrelevant for this specific test case. Total power used greater than total power in gen. So that means we have used more power than our generators. Producer node storage, so which means, yeah, more power, total power used. So where's our storage? Right here. Total storage available. Where is this? I need a breakpoint. And I need to set a condition. Total storage available is greater than 0. Okay. So 28 storage. Because for some reason this is going from nothing to full in a single tick, and I want to know why. That's a bug. Total power offered is total power in gen, total in storage. Consumer nodes.count, which is 9. I don't care about that. Let's run to cursor. So total power in gen, total in storage, minus total offered. Total power used would be 0. Consumer nodes.count is 9, which this is false. Producer nodes.count is 0 or 4, which is false on that, so it's going to skip that. Now, total power used is 0. Total power in gen is greater than 0. So this is not true. Okay, so total power in gen, total power used is 0. So this is going to be total excess power will be 112. Total storage available is 28, is not greater than a total excess power, so it's going to drop into here. Okay, total power used, total storage available, so this is going to be total power consumed is going to be 28. Producer nodes.count is greater than 0. That is true. So this wants to extract 28. Total power consumed. Total power consumed is now 0. I don't have... I don't have a breakdown here. So now we're on if total power consumed equals 0, break. Boom. Okay. What the hell is what was I doing here? What? Oh, what the hell was I doing here? This doesn't make any sense at all. This is more like what I needed. Receive power. Right? Leftover power exceeds storage capacity. Remove only what is needed to fill storages. Total power consumed, which is essentially the total storage available. This is like excess power that we didn't use. So the total power that we used from all the machines plus the total storage available. The first thing we do is grab any power, right? Total power consumed. We want to grab from the producers, which this Total storage available. Total power consumed. Just look at my logic here. Total power consumed is the amount of storage. Yes, okay. So it is including the amount of storage, the amount that we've used. We go through, we extract until we're 0. Once we're 0, then we break out, because what's the point of going through over and over and over again? It's funny I didn't have that break in here. I have them almost everywhere else. And then once we've gotten that, total power consumed, we need to process. So this removes the power, right? Remove power that we need. Producer nodes.count is greater than 0. Then add power, add excess power to storage. Excess available power to storage. Okay, let's make sure we're using the right variable here. Total storage available is not the right variable to use here. Because we're not going to be able to fill. Well, no, the total storage available does include, it is the rated power, right? So it's not like we have 4,000 available, it's going to report 4,000. It's going to report based on the delta time, what fraction of a second we are. It's going to report the rated power on the power per second, which is why I included that. So total storage available is actually how much storage this tick is available. And if we're in here, we've verified that the total storage available is less than, right, is less than the excess power, which means we have enough to fill the value, right? So the cheat power was the wrong call. That fills up the entire buffer, which is why that thing instantly had 4,000 in it, right? But we don't, that excludes rated power. That excludes the rated power. It's just boom, in one shot it fills it. And so the thing we want to do is the total storage available. We want to receive the power, which decrements, it decrements the amount of power and returns it. And so here, this should just run until if total storage available equals 0 break. Total storage available delta time false is what? Simulate. Okay. Total power consumed should be 0, and total storage available should be 0. Okay. If total power consumed does not equal 0, and total storage available does not equal 0. I don't know what variables I have access to. Why is this red? Oh, it's red there. I do have an API. Excellent. API dot world dot logger error dot warning error in network. Error in election network update tick. The reason I did that is just so I can put a breakpoint here. Okay. I actually want not there, but there. Now, let's see if we can't see if that fixes it. Yeah, the cheat power, I think I originally had that based on delta time, but I'm not passing delta time in. So just completely filling the buffer in one tick was not the right choice there. That was a blatant bug.
Buggy's blatant bug?
Yes. So this one is connected? Yes. So that. Boom. Okay. Go through this again. Run the cursor. Total power in gen, total in storage, total power offered. Nice even number. Look at that. Total power offered 50 and 25. Total power used is 0. Power used is 0 is not greater than that. Again, total excess power, total power in gen minus total power used is 25. Total storage available is equal to, so it will bounce into this. What is going on here? That's just eliminated all of the power so total power consumed yeah, now it's going to be really, really bad. It's just going to... Ah! That's the problem with debugging is it's like, for some reason... Yeah, see, it drained the entirety of power out of there, but it only gave 25 to this. So that is the wrong way to handle that. Yeah, the cheat, I don't know. I don't know why I have cheat power in there. That doesn't make any sense. Total power in generator. I need to delta time. These are really old. Like, I may have put those in just for funsies. Like, I don't know why I would have done that, but let's see what variable we need here. Total power in generator. Total excess power. I need... Yeah. Total power in generator. I need to extract that until that's 0. So if total power in generator equals 0, break. Because cheat power true just drains the entire thing. Okay. Where'd my other breakpoint go? Oh, I think I removed it. Darn it. Let's do this. Total power used. What was I? Total in storage. Total storage available. Total storage available is greater than 0. Yeah, you have to put a breakpoint. I have to put a condition on there, otherwise it's gonna break like constantly. It is going to break. It is going to break. I can disable it for now. Although I just lost. Did I just lose the condition? Oh my god. Okay, well, let's just disable it. I need to get back into the game. I need to turn the air conditioner on. It's getting... It's crazy warm in here. This is why, because this thing was there. Okay, now I can put the breakpoint in. F9. Conditions. Total storage available is greater than 0. So it shouldn't run, but I need to give this a little bit of juice here. There we go. Give this guy nice and full. And good to go. Let me grab you. So, now, when I hook this thing up, let's see what happens. Boink. Total power used, which is 0. Total in gen, 25. Good to go. Total excess power. So total storage available, total excess power, good to go. This extracts the power in the one generator that we have, which should be 0, which breaks that out. And then this will go Excess. It may. Yep. That was the first battery, which was already full. This is the second battery, which should fill that up. Yes. And then run it again. And there it's now it's filling up slowly. And this thing is cooling off. I don't know how the temperature got so high. It's because I was debugging. I know it was. Stupid thing. I really wish the game didn't do that. But it just like, as you're debugging, it just was like, it's just like really, really fast ticks the game, and it breaks everything. It just breaks everything. I want to see what happens when this breaks. This goes in. This gets connected. And I want this to drain. There it is. You can see this is 1,000. This had 1,000. Okay, well that fixed that bug. Well, thank God. The bug is fixed. That kicks that one on. And the reason why more don't kick on is because the power per second limit equals only one of these. So I could rebalance that. I could power per second equal like 500, and then all 5 of these would kick on to feed that. But it's an LV battery. I don't want to go too crazy with it. 100 power per second is the limit of an LV generator, and I don't want to exceed that. So the battery, the purpose of the battery, is to, you know, even out the peaks and the troughs, or at least give you a little bit of power storage. That way, you know, you can more optimized, use your fuel a little bit more better, I guess. Words. I'm thinking of words. But yeah, batteries I think are working as intended. Yeah. How about that, everybody? Good to go. Fun times. Now, only if I could do this and then smack it with a wrench and have it drain down. But whatever. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Yeah, batteries are good. Tanks are good. Pipes are good. This mod is coming together. I need to fix that before I forget. Okay, let's go do that because I'm gonna forget to do that. The table saw here, 100% going to forget to do that over and over and over again. So let's fix that 3D model right now. Yeah, save and leave world. And remember, channel members and patrons get weekly builds of the mod early, and then so they get weekly builds with any new features, and then I put out a community update once a month. So these features, the tank and now the battery, will be in the next. Well, the tank, I put out a new version yesterday, but it was a late version because the Friday last week the tanks weren't quite where I wanted them yet. I didn't want to put out a half-finished feature to the community or to followers, supporters, and so I got the tanks operational and working, and that's why I put out a new version, but I'll still probably put out a new version on Friday. That'll include the battery. And people will be able to play around with that as much as they want. You could even, change the battery JSON. You can experiment with different values. If it's a private world, I'm not going to freak out. Just don't post the goddamn mod yourself. But you could play around adding more connections to the thing. Having the battery like able to connect to more. Like you could just kind of go in here and tweak around with the balance a little bit. Maybe suggest other balance changes. But yeah, Friday will be the next community update version. So that's just one of those, like, I needed to have members and patrons, I wanted to give them a thank you so they get an early access to the weekly builds. But I did realize that I needed to put out new community builds, but I don't want to do that very often because it can frustrate people and server owners, right? If you're pushing out constant updates. So once a month, those go out. All right, now let's go fix that damn table saw. Now that I know how to do it. LV.
We have somebody that said hi in chat.
Phaedry. Welcome. Hello. Okay, it is the sawmill. This guard up here. Guard 7. Guard 8? Yes, guard 8. How did he model this? Okay, yeah. Okay, so guard 8, face. You? Yeah. Render pass, transparent. And then guard 9. Render pass, transparent. And guard 8 is that up there. So guard 8, we're gonna need to shrink that or lower it. Position. Yeah, because that's, we're gonna wanna. Point 2. Just so it's not butted up against there, and we can make it even a little thinner. Point 1. Point 0.05. And then knock it in 0.8, like that. Now to do the other one, just even funner. So this one is 7.8? No, 16.2. Oh. Okay, and then this and this 16.2. And this one is 0.05 thick. And I need to push that like that. And then save it. There we go. At least now it's going to be rendered transparent. It should be good to go. And now it should look good. And we can verify that right away. as we wait. Ponder life. There we go. There. Now it doesn't look like crap. Yay. I mean, I don't know what the wisdom of having like a glass a glass thing there. That would be, I think that would be even more dangerous, having like a thin glass that would just slice your hand just as fast as the template. But yeah. I really wish like I'd have people coming out of the woodworks to help with like redesigning the 3D models and the shapes and the textures. Like these need to be redone. Mr. Andy Dandy was starting on these, and the way that he was doing the textures was just all wrong. He UV mapped all of these, and the textures are not. You can't reuse the texture that this uses on something else like this. Something like this is using, you know, there's a texture on the top and the texture on the face. Like, it actually is using textures properly, or at least how the game does it. And I want to go towards that, especially for the LV tier, where I didn't want to get crazy. But, so these two machines are going to have to be retextured. And you could, like, figure out a certain, you know, you could take this texture here, this part of the texture, and make a full 32 by 32 texture, and then just use that, right, over and over and over again. The game is optimized, right? The engine is optimized to use these. Whereas if you start using textures that are larger than the default 32 by 32, now the texture atlas gets crazy, right? It gets really complex when you have like big textures in there suddenly, and now you have to put like little textures all around. It's just, I don't like it. So you can get a lot of detail and stuff out of, you know, using textures the way that, the way that you should. So yeah, because I know that once we get to the MV tier, and the multi-blocks, once the multi-blocks start coming in, we're going to be going through and you know, rethinking textures and stuff, because there's some of those that are going to be big. Programming wise, the last big to do object, because yeah, the transformer is something I need to work on, which, to be fair, is going to be relatively easy. I mean, not relative. I mean, it's going to be, you know, 90% of the work is done. I just got to make sure that multiple wires connected to a single block doesn't completely foobar the system. So that's something I can work on. But code-wise, the next big thing is the multi-block system. And I was working with Blue Lightning on speccing that out. And we have a design doc that outlines every little detail of the multi-block system and how that's going to work. And he has not had the time to even come close to that yet. So right now, my biggest detriment, the biggest thing, the thing that I need the most are shapes, textured shapes for things going forward. So if you are a burgeoning artist and you want to tinker around, the multi-blocks, how the system is going to work. Let me just outline this really quick. Here's the workflow from the player's side of things. This is how this is going to work. We've spec'd all of this out in a design document. When you want to build, say, a pump jack or an oil refinery, what you're going to craft first is the core block. So the core block will be a recipe, just like anything else. We'll have certain elements of the recipe, you know, whatever. Just imagine just a grid recipe for that. And we can expand on that later if we want. But when you place the core block on the ground, the core block represents the bottom center of the machine. Doesn't have to be, but the easiest thing to do would be the bottom center. And the orientation that you're looking in when you place it, just like any machine, will be the orientation of the machine after it's finished. So it'll be a single block. That's the core. You place it. Now all of the core is going to have all of the logic and all of the code, where it's going to display the ghost blocks in layered ghost blocks as you build. It's going to layer them all, and it's going to show you how to build the multi-block, right? Just like in immersive engineering, when you build, you have the projector or whatever. I'm not having a completely separate object to do that, but when you place the core block, it's going to show you that first layer of all of the blocks, the ghosted blocks of what to place. Once that's all done, it's going to show the next layer, and then the next layer, right? It's going to do that until it's built, and then once it's finished, it's going to swap all of the blocks you just placed, right? It's going to swap all of those with a dummy block. And the dummy blocks are all going to have, they're all going to be like a certain portion of the collision box. But the core block, once it swaps all of those, the core block itself swaps its shape and its variant, right? From unfinished, it's going to be completed. And that shape swap is going to be the multi-block shape. It's going to be the giant version of that block that's all nice and pretty and animated. Like it's gonna behave like a tiny little like metal press, but it's gonna be big. It's gonna exceed the block size. And you can do that, right? When you have the model creator, right? I can add a block, that's 20 by 250. Right? I can create a block that's way bigger than the single block shape. Right? And so the multi-block is going to be one thing that is big, and it's going to be animated. You can be just like the metal press is animated. You'll be able to have the animation. All of that stuff should work. Texture-wise, again, it's going to be iffy. I'm not sure what we're going to do with textures. Within limits, I suppose, of textures. But when a multi-block, the detail will not be in textures. The detail should be in the voxels, right? So if you have little rivets, right, in a machine, if you have little like bolts, you should have a little voxel there. Rather than have a texture do it, have a little voxel there. That way the texture can be flat and just be basically tiled, and then the bolts will be actual like voxels. The game is built to optimize shapes, right? That's how it's built. And plus, with multi-blocks, you're not going to have 500 of them. You're going to have maybe one or two, right? You don't need a lot of refineries or pump jacks. You don't need a lot of them. So I'm not planning on having or supporting people building hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. That's just not how factories work. But when you build that and the thing swaps it, now it's a machine, right? Now it's just like a normal machine. It's, just like a regular machine with a regular block entity. When you swap that block to the new variant, it's going to create a block entity just like the game. Like, sort of like when you repair the temporal teleporter thing. I forget what it's called. When you repair that, it's swapping the shape. And as soon as you fully repair it, it swaps it to the working variant, which has animations and stuff, right? And it creates the block entity for you. So all the stuff in the game is built in for this, which is what I want to use. The only difference is the multi-block system has to be completely built from the ground up, because the base game, while the base game has a multi-block system, it is extremely limited to size. You can only ever have like a 5 by 5 by 6 shape. That is the absolute largest multi-block that you can have. 5 by 5 by 6, I believe, is the shape. And I'm thinking like an oil refinery is going to be huge. It's going to be a massive undertaking to build this thing. And so current specs for our multi-block system is 9 by 9 by 16. And so we have to reinvent how multi-blocks work to support that. Because what the base game does, in order to have a multi-block, and a multi-block is as simple as like a giant door, right? One of the games, like, if you have like a 2x3 door, that's a multi-block. And it's a single block that has dummy blocks that point to its parent, right? It points to its parent. Well, those blocks are actual blocks in the game, right? They actually have a code. There's a block that is that code, and in that block is encoded the offset to its parent. So when you open a door, you're literally you're putting dummy blocks in the open spot, and then when you close it, those dummy blocks are moving, right? So when you simple as opening a door, you're swapping blocks. You're swapping air blocks for dummy blocks. It's a lot of shenanigans behind the scenes. For multi-block machines, for the big ones, we can't do that because it would be over 1,000. Like if you take 9 by 9 by 16, it's like 1,200 something. So 9 by 9 by 16 is 1,200. It's 1,300 blocks. So you'd have to have at least 1,300 dummy blocks or more. Yeah, 1,300 dummy blocks. To point to the core block, and I don't want to do that. I want a little bit more control over that, and so our dummy blocks, they're just going to be basic like air blocks, right? They're going to be empty blocks, but they're going to have a block entity, and the block entity is going to be a really simple thing that just points to where it is, like what's the principle, what's the core, and it's going to have some encoded information in terms of like, am I an electrical connection? Am I a pipe connection? Am I a fluid pipe connection? Right? Those kinds of things can be encoded with the block entities in the description of the multi-block. So we have to kind of roll our own in order to get the most functionality. I have to turn my air conditioner on. It is so freaking hot in here. Yeah, sorry, cat. She's right in the line of fire of the air conditioner. So yeah, when it comes to like the multi-block system, that is going to be a massive undertaking. For me, it would be. I'm really hoping Blue Lightning tackles it because I think he would be able to hammer that out in a week. Like just a nice system that does that. So yeah, we spent a couple weeks building the spec. So we built this spec for it, and you know we had to think of like all of the edge cases and all of the contingencies and all of that kind of stuff. So we have a really good design going for it. It's just translating that into code, and he thinks he can actually do the collision boxes in a way that's like crazy. You know, running an intersection algorithm. I don't even know. I don't even know. But yeah, the multi-blocks, what I'm going to do when going into it, the first two multi-blocks I could probably take care of. The creosote oven, that's going to be just a 3x3x3. That's going to be dead easy. And then the alloy oven, if anybody remembers immersive engineering, you know kind of what I'm talking about. The alloy oven looks a little different. It's the one that has the blowers on each side. So the alloy oven is going to be a little bit more unique of a shape. But the creosote oven, the first one is 3x3x3. It's just blah, just generic. But it's going to need fluid and item interface, right? Like an item interface on the top and a fluid interface on the bottom or something like that. Where you're going to feed in items and maybe fuel. I don't know. The dimension system, yes. When I mean when you build the core block, Adri, when you build the core block and it shows you the ghost blocks around, like the layer, the ghost blocks, that's the mini dimension system. So it ties in the mini dimension system to be able to render all those ghost blocks and track basically all those block positions. And then once those block positions are set, going to the next layer, right? One layer is done, the next layer is next. And then the mini dimension system will render the next layer. It's really the only way to do that without adding a custom renderer for like every single block to try to get it transparent. That would be rough. Because the mini dimension system, the way that it works, it's like super, super, super low level into the renderer. It's like embedded into the base game renderer way, way deeper than anything that we can access in the game. Like the API, the mini dimension system goes way deep into the renderer to do what it does. But anyway, yeah, that is the plan for the multi-block system. I really don't want to tackle it myself. The pipes, man, that the process, the 3 months it took me to make those pipes, woo! Like, I don't know if I want to tackle yet another giant system for that, but it's needed. So the next big thing is getting the transformer, the MV to LV transformer working. I don't yet have an MV generator, but there's some more to-do list items that I can get the shape and the texture for the creosote oven, the alloy oven. I can do all that stuff now too, and just prep. But anything beyond the multi-blocks, beyond like all the multi-blocks from the MV tier, there's going to be quite a few. MV is going to be based on like chemical power gen, right? Diesel, hydrogen, stuff like that, and mechanical power. So MV tier is going to be like better power gen, not as many machines, but better power gen, and maybe a couple bigger machines. And then HV is going to be yet another step up in power gen, and the high level like machines for like smelting, like the arc furnace and stuff like that, for example. So what I'm probably going to do for the multi-blocks in MV tier is just create a dummy, just to create a dummy block, and then post that, and hopefully that encourages maybe some artists out there to be like, I don't like the look of that crazy, ugly dummy block or that placeholder multi-block. Let me give you something better. And it's like, well, that works. Adding oil deposits. Oil deposits are already added, sir. That was a mod I did 2 years ago called oil deposits. This is already out in the mod hub. Right, the ModDB already has oil deposits, yeah, there is some shenanigans in here that I tried to add like spouts, right, where it actually develops a spout. I haven't gotten that to work, but again, it was 2 years ago. I've learned quite a bit since then, so I might be able to figure it out now. Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, oil deposits are already a thing. I may integrate the change this does into vintage engineering to ensure oil deposits appear in the rock, right? You can actually dig down and find oil deposits, because it has a very specific set of spawning, right? And right now there is absolutely zero indication on the surface that there's oil underneath, right? There is nothing on the surface. That's where the spouts wanted, sort of like old school Buildcraft, where we'd go around and there'd be a spout. You'd be like, oh, there's oil in the ground. That's what I wanted here, but I couldn't get the spout to work. It would appear way up in the sky, and I'll be like, I don't want it above the trees. I want it into the ground. So, yeah, there's a little bit of code I'm gonna have to go through here. Old code and then mod and then so I mean, if you wanted to work on that and get that working, I'm pretty sure I uploaded this to GitHub. So right now there's nothing in code because I've got old code. This is my attempt to do it that doesn't work. And then I've got code here that maybe get that to work. But all it does right now is add a liquid block and adds it into WorldGen, right? Deposits WorldGen. I just generate oil. And it's a very specific amount of stuff. It's all in sedimentary rock. And it has to be deep enough, right? It has to be deep enough. But since I put this mod out, there have been changes to the fluid system. So I'm going to have to look, maybe overhaul that mod a little bit. But I also want to make sure that we support instances where they don't have this mod. Maybe they don't even know about this mod. And so there has to be some sort of fail-safe for the pump jacks. A fail-safe system for the pump jacks in case they don't have this mod. To basically like pump out of the mantle, just like abstractly. Maybe it looks so far down. And if it looks so far down and it sees the right type of rock, just pump that. Like, just come up with some random number, some random number of blocks of oil, and then have it pump from that. Something abstractly, which is pretty easy to do. But otherwise, it's going to definitely be pumping actual fluid blocks and clearing them a block at a time, which is 1,000 liters. So the oil pump jack will pull. It'll have an internal buffer, the pump jack, of fluid of like 5,000 liters. And then once it drops below, once it has at least 1,000 liters available, it'll pump another block. And then the algorithm to come up with the to spider out and find all of the the block map of fluid blocks to pump so much distance away. I've actually got that algorithm already done. So that system is already programmed for the vein miner World Eater functionality for the pickaxe. My World Eater pickaxe. Yeah, the vein miner function already does that. Spiders out. So that same algorithm can be used. But anyway, the system here is good to go. And I will be putting out a updated version to members and channel or patrons on Friday that include this feature. After a little bit more testing in between. Today and then. So if you're a member or a patron, look for that. I always post the zips in the members only chat on my Discord. That's where 99% of all this stuff goes. I've stopped posting details on the patron page itself because for reasons passing understanding, Patreon, the site, when somebody signs up, they can sign up for like free. I'm gonna support this person, but it's gonna be the free tier. I don't understand that at all, right? I just had somebody sign up and it was like the free tier. I'm like, that's not supporting anybody. So I've stopped posting on there details because I don't understand the reasoning behind that. I'm going to support this person, but not actually support them. You know, we're going to give them an attaboy. We're going to pat him on the back and be like, good job. Give me all the free shit, right? Give me all the benefits of supporting somebody. Imagine an artist, right? You have an artist, 3D modeler, painter, who does tutorials, and they make their living doing this stuff. If they're making their living doing it and they have a bunch of people sign up for free, well, now they're getting all the benefits and they're not able to pay their bills. Like, I don't understand that. So I know people are like, oh, you know, I don't want to pay. And it's like, I understand that. Trust me, I do. But this is also what I do. I'm a modder. I'm a programmer. This is what I do. And to be able to pay my bills, I need something from somewhere. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go out and get a job, and I'm going to be not able to do this more than a couple hours a week, which would be sad. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that is good to go there. Build, rebuild, make sure there's no icky anythings. Look at that. It's good to go. Oh, I love it when stuff works. Relay. I still have to do relays. There's a bunch of work I need to do with relays. Because relays, when you put them on a machine that supports it, will be able to pass power into the machine. It'll be kind of a bridge between the electrical network and the relay. That none of that code is operational yet. None of that stuff works. But yeah, that's going to do it for the stream today. A little bit faster than usual. I honestly thought it was going to take longer to do the things that we did. Like, I thought batteries were going to be like this big, long ordeal, but yeah, they got done really, really fast. Literally like 20 minutes, and they were working. So, awesome. So yeah, I thank everybody for coming by. Thanks for everybody in chat. Everybody who has participated and liked. Please like the stream. Like, please.
It really helps to get the word out.
It helps YouTube understand, like, people interacted with it, they like it. I usually try to do it. I should say it when it starts, because then more people might stop by, and you know, then more people would like it, and then more people would stop by, and you know, then it would be good. But afterwards, it's still good. It still gets recommended. Get the word out, and get more people playing the game. More people playing the game means a bigger community, means more modders potentially coming, means more players, means more modders. I think it just improves everything, everything from the start. And thank you, Joe, for the like. I appreciate that. But yeah, come back here for Saturday, where we are going to just continue our relaxed, lazy farming sim, right? I can't get behind any other game right now. I just can't. So much of my concentration is vintage engineering that if I were to sit down and try to learn a brand new game, like, my brain would just hurt. And I really enjoy it. I do. I really enjoy farming sim. I enjoy modding farming. It's an infinitely tweakable game. Like, you can just constantly tweak on it. Like, it's so good. But yeah, thank you all for coming by. I hope to see you on Saturday. If not, come back next Wednesday, where we are going to continue this lovely modding process. So, see everybody then.